Hi, Gunho. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Great. How's your spring quarter going so far?
It's actually been quite insane. KSA Culture Show happened yesterday, and it's only been a month, right? It feels like it's been forever, but because we tried to do it during admin weekend, we had to we didn't get the venue confirmed until the Tuesday before the event, which was insane. It was so bad for us. We couldn't start publicity until then, and so that was a little crazy. It turned out that some of our actors were pledging so they had a lot of conflicts. And I had to contact the Lambert president and tell him to give some of our guys a break. So that was nice too. But still, they were so tired and not functional in some of the practices. So that was a little concerning. But other than that, now that it's done, I just have more time to focus on it.
Did it turn out well? Your culture night?
There were lots of mistakes, of course, just because we were on such a time crunch. But I feel everyone enjoyed it, both the performers and the people who were watching. So that was it.
How'd you get into that?
I'm Korean, and when I got to Stanford, I had a lot of culture shocks in terms of the demographics of the people. I come from Latino, which is very predominantly Asian. I came to Stanford, and I was like, there's so many and then I was placed into Ujima, and I had another huge culture shock there. So I was trying to find a community there. And Ujima's great. Stanford's great as well. It's just I felt like I wanted to talk to people who had something in common with me. And so I was looking. Oh, and also another culture shock. I was looking for a Christian fellowship, and I went to this one fellowship, and that was very waspy. And that was a big culture shock as well. So I was like, okay, I definitely need to find myself in this Asian. And so KSA was there. And also during my admin weekend, I slipped out because I didn't want to go to the show. I wanted to go to the KSA culture show. And I watched it. I was like, I want to do something, and I want to be a person who does something like that. So that's what I wanted to do. It was great. I found a community where I could go to which is a Christian fraternity, and sing Korean songs. So that's nice.
You're not an international student, are you?
No, I was born. Well, I was born in Korea, but I grew up here. I immigrated here.
Oh, okay. So, but you are kind of familiar, even though you grew up in the Asian communities. You're still familiar with California life and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Korean's atrophy, and with that language barrier, I just feel more and more distant with Korean culture. Although I love K-pop, and I don't think that's a negative at all. It's just a different culture, and I don't necessarily feel like I would want to go back just because of a variety of reasons.
Back to Korea?
Back to Korea.
Okay.
I mean, to live in. I would love to go for visits and stuff because that's fantastic. But yeah, I feel more American. If that makes sense.
I actually dropped down in Korea one time. I went to visit family members in Thailand. We dropped down to Korea and got a layover there.
No.
Everyone was really nice. And it was really nice. Have you been back to Korea?
Yeah, so I used to go back every summer until I started college.
Oh, cool. Do you have a lot of family there?
Yeah, pretty much all my family's there. All my extended family's there. So we go back frequently, and it's great. When I got into Stanford, I made so much money. It's insane.
You made money from?
From
Oh, okay. They're
here's
just
some spending money. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. But,
what's your favorite? Okay, I'm sure because I know about the cool K-pop and the Hallyu wave. I think it's Hallyu. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm bad at that. But what's your favorite K-pop band?
I like SNS. I like Jessica Fleeta. She's great.
Jessica's from California.
I think so. She's from the States. She and Tiffany are from the States.
Yeah, she's from LA. She got signed on to SM. Yeah. I know about
Her
that.
English is great.
Yeah, well, because she lived here forever.
Yeah. And her sister is in FX.
Yeah, I know all those bands. My friend went to clubs.
should have come to the culture show. We did so much culture.
Did you?
We did.
Were
I
you
got a boy.
dancing to it?
Yeah, I got a boy, and then we had
I got
like a retro.
Is that the
That's
song?
the newest song.
Okay,
Although
I
it
think
came out
I've
before.
heard it. I think my friend made me listen to it. She sat me down.
Made you.
Well, I was in the car. And she's like,
Uh-huh.
she stole my thing. Okay, no, there was like, so I have a thing that connects to the radio,
Oh,
and so like I had my music playing. She pulled it off, and she's like, I'm gonna make you listen to my stuff.
who's your friend?
It's in Oregon, so she's like,
Oh,
she's like almost my
she's
cousin,
not
but not really. But she, no, she's like, she's not Korean, but she wants to be
Oh.
like. She
No,
wants-
when we were tabling for Advent Weekend, there was this. I think she was black. And she came over and she was like, I saw all these posters, and we did posters of all the other events that we did, and they're all different from this. Like, this is such a fun guy. And we're super excited. I think she's gonna. I can't say this right, so it's.
Do you feel proud about that? Like how
I
like
do.
big like the whole Korean pop.
I do,
thing
even
is
though I
gone?
feel somewhat removed from
Uh-huh.
Korean culture. I don't think that kind of Korean nationalism can be washed away in a sense. And my parents tend to say the same thing. They're like, even though you don't speak Korean, you go back to your roots. And whatever you do is a reflection of the entire like Korean entity. And I didn't know this, but we were having this similar discussion with saying apparently when the Virginia Tech accident happened, the Korean government issued like a formal apology for everybody because the perpetrator was. So there's that nationalism in a sense of responsibility, a huge sense of just by the fact that you are of Koreans.
Well, I feel like being Korean is just pretty. It's something to be proud of because it's really hard to make it into the American market. And Korean people have been able to do that. If you look at like G.I. Joe, there's the Young Hun. I think it's him. He plays one of the ninjas, Shadow or something. I don't know. But like I mean,
I'm not a
there's
big movie person, but
yeah.
Koreans were really proud of that. And in Korea, they're like, yeah, just so, like, I don't think a lot of people watch G.I. Joe, but whatever, if it makes you feel better,
Yeah.
sure.
No, it's something to be proud of. And even if you can't speak like the language, doesn't mean that you can't be proud of it. Like I have a lot of family members who are like they can no longer speak my language, but they're still proud of being this, which is hard to be because we're such a small like tiny and
Is that related to?
well, yes, kind of. We're not like from the same clan or anything, but it's we're from like kind of the same region. Our stories are kind of the same. They're like completely different languages are like languages are kind of the same.
Are they both Vietnamese and Cambodia?
I think both of us originated in China and moved to Laos.
Oh, Laos, sorry.
Laos got kicked out of Laos, went to refugees in Thailand, all the other places. Yeah. Are there like is KSA mostly Korean people? Or
No,
do you find that there's like a
about half of us are not Korean.
Okay.
And we did our mission statement for the second time 4 weeks ago, and we are now in Canada. And I thought that was super cool. And yeah, we do. There are the Korean community at Stanford is relatively fragmented. There's the international Korean community, which tends to be really just be Korean. And I mean, I don't blame them. They want to somehow have a feeling of home here. I guess, I mean, the language is a huge part of that. And they tend to do their own things, and they don't host events for the entire campus. They just have like conferences. And there's KSA, where we do have Korean internationals, but we also do have non-Koreans and Koreans who grew up here who are interested in culture. And we do events that fight
Cool.
and I think it's a misconception that we need to work harder to fight because a lot of people during table are asking us what makes it
What is KSA? Is it
Yeah.
Korean?
Korean Student Association. So it's like, yeah, like everyone else is supposed to be Korean and non-Korean. Like, you know, which we can't do.
Yeah, but yeah, I think the name fits no matter what. Like, you can be Korean associated without being. Yeah, Korean Association. that like because you don't know the language?
I mean, I do. It's just atrophy. So I don't.
Oh, you do know that language.
I do. Yeah. I went to Korean school until fifth grade, so my best Korean is at the level of sixth grade. But still.
Okay. Do you understand it more than you can
Yeah,
like, speak
definitely.
it? Yeah.
I can read and understand, unless it's like using a lot of hard vocabulary. I can listen and generally
Okay.
but I can. My writing is like second grade level. My speaking is a little better, but it's very stilted. And so when we were working with Koreans for the show, I was like, it was a little embarrassing for me, but I prefer to speak to a translator because I really hate not being able to speak for one thing. So as soon as I spoke to a translator, I feel like people felt obliged to speak back to the translator, but understood what they were saying.
Yeah.
So that was a little like the dynamic was a little weird. But I mean, I've scheduled Winter Quarter senior year to maybe go back to Korea just to spend more time to salvage my or I could go to Santiago. I feel like I can salvage the language that I'm proficient at more than trying to build up something that likely won't be able to reach any place.
Do you feel that the Korean language is very important for you as a Korean, like to keep on your roots, or is it kind of like?
It's not necessarily that. It's more like I would feel embarrassed if I am Korean. Now it's being born here, and people expect to talk whenever I go to Korean markets and stuff. People expect to and those like there's simple sentences I can do. It's just I feel like this language barrier is something I want to more mostly as it's a private thing.
So do you feel like you've gotten like the whole? Because you had mentioned earlier in the beginning that you felt like a little like culture shock. Do you feel like you gathered what you needed?
Oh yeah, definitely. When I get back to Cupertino, I'm like, this is so boring. I'm also racially watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think so. I think it was just even though home is 20 minutes away, just not being around something that's familiar with it, I would need something that's I have never experienced before. I've basically gone to and then even before that in Korea, just so that was a huge, like a very big change.
So you're a lot more comfortable now.
Yeah, I mean for sure, and just spending that year in Ujima as well. Yeah, at Stanford, which is very diverse. Really.
Are you involved with the AQC a lot?
No, I just choose to do KSA stuff. I don't know, because I joined KSA because I wanted to put on a culture show. I honestly don't really know what the AQC does, but it serves as an organization.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, and all the speaker series seem really interesting. It's just I have classes during that time, and also I don't bike, so I can't get there and back in time. So.
Why don't you have a bike? Did you just never start out with one, and you just don't?
I had a bike. Fine. Because like my school was walking distance, I just walked, and also because my parents weren't comfortable with biking on the road, which I was supposed to do it.
Okay.
And so I never really biked until my parents were just biking. And then coming to Stanford, for one thing, I heard horror stories of people getting into bike accidents, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna get into a bike accident at least once in your time. Like, I don't want to experience that.
Okay.
So I didn't start with that. I didn't want to, and the first time I went back home, I just wanted to check on my bike so maybe I could bring it back to Philippines. And then the tires were all flat, and I was like, I don't feel like using it. So, and then I made like a personal resolution to myself that I would just walk for a long time forward. I'd be a soldier, be a trooper, and I'd just walk everywhere. Then,
do you feel that it's like completely different? Or?
Well, sophomore year, my drum major now,
Okay.
And it wasn't that actually. The whole reason.
Let's talk about biking.
Oh.
Did you think it feels different? Mainly
Oh.
because, like, I mean, between walking and biking,
So
and it's just, everyone's going by really fast.
Right. It's yeah. I mean, I don't really know what it feels like. So I have nothing to
Okay, that's
compare it to.
understandable.
But it's lonely when you start off with everybody else. Like you leave your like 9:50 for the 10 a.m. class, and then the clocks are all going by you for the first 5 minutes, and then after that it's like completely silent. There's like no lights going in. You're still like halfway to the class. That's a little lonely. So yeah, I think you see a lot more of campus. There's so much greenery inside.
Yeah. The few times that I've locked myself on the road and couldn't get my bike, I would just walk around. It's like, it looks really nice outside. You never really notice when you're biking. It is true.
And that's what people do.
Although there is, the danger, you had said that there's like, you can get in a bike accident. The bike can slip into. Just saying.
Yeah, no, but I feel like I'm very proud of being able to cross the street. There's lights
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
It's all about maintaining eye contact with the bike and not stopping for the night because the bike knows how to move its way around. If I stop and the biker doesn't know what to do, it actually complicates things.
Well,
In fact,
thanks.
some of my early times trying to cross and then like was and then we crashed. So not
Oh, I hope you're okay. Thanks for talking to me.
no, thanks for talking to you too.
Yeah.